Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the November meeting. Paul, can you call the roll, please, certify the quorum and offer proof, please?
Okay, we have Matt Barger, Karen Gilmartin, Steve Burke, Nathaniel Monks, Brian Colin, Pat Kepke, and Margie Cassie on Zoom, so we have a full quorum.
All righty, thank you. So we have minutes to approve for both the special meeting and the October meeting. I have a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. So a brief presence report this month because we have some exciting stuff to get to. So I'm just going to welcome everyone back. That season is obviously in full swing. Busy here. We do notice that the usual annual re-entry to Pelican Marsh driving education situation seems to be happening. So don't roll through those stop signs and watch for bikers and all that good stuff. It's just a little extra time. Be considerate of your friends and neighbors. We've seen a couple of near misses so far. We just got here, so it's just one thing to think about. I know we're going to have the big event here tonight. Pretty exciting, Chicago. So I hope everybody
Tomorrow.
folks are coming out. Is that tomorrow night? What's Thursday? Yeah, tomorrow night. Thank you. And I hope everyone comes out and enjoys that. So we can move on here. Daniel, treasurer's report, please.
Well, good news, guys. It's October and almost nothing happened in October, so this will be quick and easy. We're going to look at October and the year-to-date.
Hold on a second.
While Paul is bringing that up on your screen, you can see that for administration here, our financial highlights, year-to-date, we're a little bit over budget. The biggest reason we're a little bit over budget this year is insurance. We took a big hit on insurance costs. The cost of our insurance shot up last year, 40–50%, and they promised they're going to do it again to us next year. Again, I thought we'd be free for a long time, but insurance is the number one reason we're over budget with administration. Drop down to the food and beverage. At the bottom, you can see that we're there's a 10-month loss of 404 through October, and that has the losses have been stopped there, and we're trying to replace that with a new operator and not have that problem in the future. There's a very positive note at the bottom. Resale fees, 95 units resale. That's 26 more than we expected. $154,000 more than we budgeted. Very good thing about the economy for this year. We're worried next year will be a lot worse. Next page, please. Page 2, you can see our balances. If you look at the top line, you see what we started the year with off in each account. If you look at the bottom line, you see where the account's at now. There's a operating fund is got a little more money in it than it had before, but that's because of 2022 maintenance fees that haven't been used to pay for those expenses yet. The replacement fund, the reason it has more money in it now than it did at the beginning of the year is because as soon as the year started, we packed in all the required funds for that, and we haven't had to use a lot this year. We'll use more next year. The capital fund, the fund where we use money that was from resale fees to improve our amenities around here, started off the year at $280,000. You'll see down at the bottom now it's only got $100,000 in it, and that's because in the very early part of the year we used money to finish up this food and beverage operation and a few other minor repairs. And then you see the total there. Next page, please. Activities. Okay, so it's been kind of a weird 3-year run because of COVID. There was a normal, and then there was this COVID, and then there's this coming back thing. So the reason that you see this column off to your far right, pre-COVID, year-to-date, actual 2019, is because I want you to kind of be able to see how these numbers look like in comparison with the real world before COVID. So like, let's look at the top line fitness revenues. You see that we had 252,000 so far in 2022. Paul, on the where it says 311,000 on 2019, is that year to date, or would that be through October, or is that?
That'd be same time.
Okay, so that's so we're comparing the end of October with the end of October, apples and apples. So we're still not up to where we were before COVID with our fitness revenues. See that? So that's a good way to compare this on the list. The very next one down is court sports. And the reason for that is there is still some people being real cautious about COVID. So they don't want to go inside the gym as much as they did before COVID. And also because a lot of that is in the winter, which is at the beginning of the calendar year. So I think you'll see that flip over really quick. January 1 next year won't have a problem. Revenues for court sports, you see that it's at 41,975. You go all the way to the right, and you can see that we're higher than pre-COVID. Pre-COVID was 30 and 30,432. And then if you kind of, just for fun, compare it with last year, we're like double last year. So the court sports revenues is real good. Everybody's staying busy out there, getting lessons and things like that. The next thing down is social revenues. This is remarkable. Social is what Lynn does with all these activities everywhere, from taking you guys to the banquet or having a banquet here, or want to see a movie or something. Look at these strange numbers. Go to 2019, $76,000. Then you look at 2021, COVID dropped off a rock, 19,000, 22, 39,000. And then look at 22, 125,000. This is like almost double pre-COVID. So she's just doing an amazing job, 6 times the income of last year. And this is not a profit center. We try to buy tickets and sell tickets and not make money or lose money. This is amenity for you. So this means that lots of people are taking advantage of activities, and you see all these flyers in the doorway. She's just doing amazing. Down at the bottom, you see the food and beverage. We all know that story too well. 404, 966 with the total losses, and I don't believe we should have anything else trickle in after this point, and that's the end of that this year. The next page is the interesting page about the sales of houses. We back before COVID, real often we would assume there would be 100 sales, and there's just no way there was going to be 122 because of there was nothing for sale at the beginning of the year. And look at this, there's actually been 102 houses sold this year. 7 of them were just Pelican Marsh residents looking for a better house in Pelican Marsh. It was 95 that we collected the fee on. We only assumed there would be 69. That's 26 extras. That's very nice. So everything's looking good. Next report might be even better. That's all I have.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Okay, foundation managers report, Paul.
Okay, so this season we're off to a great start. We started off the season with a welcome back party that happened last month, which was a huge success. As Steve mentioned before, or tomorrow night, we'll be having a special concert out in the courtyard, which will feature some of the former band members of the music group Chicago, which should be a lot of fun. Additionally, our holiday party, dinner party is scheduled for December 13th. Dinner will be planned to be served out in the patio bar area, weather permitting, with the DJ providing music. Right now we have lots of openings for this event, so please get signed up with the community center. For more details on these events and the other great events we have scheduled for season, please check out the website or go to the lobby, and all the flyers of the events are there to learn more about them. With rainy season, however, members are now again reminded to have all the necessary cleaning and maintenance done on their homes. Again, the wet and humid weather over the rainy season brings a lot of mildew and dirt buildup on the home's roof, walls, walkways, and other areas. So please have this cleaning done so everyone's property looks great for season. The invoices for the 2023 foundation budget maintenance fees will be mailed out by the 1st of December. So please watch out in the mail for these invoices and have your payments returned by the due date on the invoice, please. Again, reminder all members to provide us with your email addresses and other current contact information so we can keep everyone updated and informed with what's happening in Pelican Marsh this season. And if you don't have your current information with us, please see Monique or Rachel, excuse me, and the admin office to provide your information for them. Lastly, the staff wants to wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and safe travels for those who are visiting family and friends up north. Patrick told me that he and his trainers will be on standby after the holidays for all the residents who may need a little help removing those extra pounds gained from the turkey and all the other goodies consumed. So please check them out after the holidays are over. And that's my report.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, committee reports. We have a committee report today. It is from the Food and Beverage Vendor Search Committee, and the chairman, Bruce Zaretsky, is going to give us a report. Thank you.
So, since the last meeting I was at in October, we've identified several candidates to open up the Nest Restaurant. We've reviewed and personally and vetted several RFPs that have come our way. And I would like to just say to the committee that after all our reviewing and vetting, we have a candidate that we would like to highly recommend to the board for approval. Let me just tell you a little bit about this candidate. His name is Brad Phillips. Brad Phillips's background is he has two restaurants that were located on Fort Myers, the south end of Fort Myers Beach. One was called the South Beach Grill. It was there for 18 years. The other is Oliver's, also located in the same shopping center area. That was a sports bar, and that was operating for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, both restaurants were in the path of Hurricane Ian, and they no longer are functioning. They've been pretty much destroyed and are in the process of being rebuilt. That being said, Brad Phillips is an operator that he's been in business for 18 years. He's had the same manager in the South Beach Grill for the last 18 years, the same manager in Oliver since it's been open. And plus he has a long history with the staff that works there. He plans on coming in to our operation with his entire experienced staff to open up our new restaurant. He's a very capable young man, and again, I think he would just be the perfect match for us. I think culturally he fits. He has the experience. He just checks out all the boxes that we want to check out. And he has proposed the menu. I have it here after the meeting. I could show it to anybody who would like to see it. It's exciting, and his restaurant, Oliver's, had music 2 or 3 days a week. He's proposing music for this operation as well. He says that if we approve him as the operator and sign a contract, he could be open within 3 to 4 weeks. Very good chance to be open before New Year's. And so I think on behalf of the committee, I would like to recommend heartily that we approve Brad. We met with him personally as a committee. The board has all met him individually as a board, and there seemed to be a unanimous agreement that he would be the right operator and his team would be the right group to open up the restaurant. So it's very exciting, and I can't wait till everybody here meets Brad and his team, they'll be highly impressed.
Thank you, Bruce. Before the board, before we submit a motion and vote on this, I just want to say that I hope everyone in the committee can appreciate, in the community, excuse me, can appreciate the size of the challenge here. This committee, which was formed just 2 months ago, has done an amazing job in terms of looking for people, finding them, RFPs going out, RFPs coming back, people being vetted. The combination of folks with restaurant experience and finance experience on this committee proved to be super helpful. And all of these people worked hard. And it's frankly amazing that in 2 months they found a credible, qualified operator, a guy who the board has all met, and we believe that this guy is going to be a really great fit for Pelican Marsh. But thank you, Bruce. And I just think that at this point, I just want to tell you that all of the members of this committee, Beth DeFrank, Paula Fetterman, Joe Mulcahy, Dave Wallace, Mike Sharp, Daniel Monks, the liaison of the board, Patrick Webb, and Paul Madry for the foundation. These people did a tremendous job. So if you see them out and about the community, give them a hug. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to.
Wait a minute. Why don't you want to give us some more details on the contract? We got perk with grading. What are we doing here?
Excuse me, Angela. We're going to accept a recommendation. There's no contract.
Okay.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to accept the committee's recommendation, Brad Phillips, to be the vendor for our food and beverage service. Do I have a motion?
Pardon me, on the wording of that might be can you look at the wording you just said? I think you might have missed one phrase or something, because I think what we want to do is accept the recommendation to negotiate with him as our.
Right.
And that
We're accepting the recommendation of the committee. So now the negotiation is the next phase, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah. This is not just, I just didn't want, it sounded like you were saying that we were passing a motion to accept him as our vendor.
No, that's not what I
Accept him
said.
as the recommendation.
Right, thank you very much. That's not what I said. What I said was we're accepting the recommendation of the committee to then move forward to the next step,
Thank you.
which will be to evaluate that. And
I so motion.
second, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
There will be no old business here. That's taking care of new business. 11.2 will go right to the approval of the 2023 foundation annual budget. Okay, so do we want to talk about this, Paul?
Well, there's been a slight change from the previous month. So Dan, you want to go over the details?
Yeah, in fact, I kind of feel like we might have accidentally not been clear on our last paragraph, so I want to be, and this ties into this. What we did, what Bruce just did and the board just did, is the committee and the board unanimously feels like that this gentleman, Mr. Brad Phillips, and his team is the only person right now we should be negotiating with to be our vendor. That's as far as we got. Is we just we're thinking, okay, we're going to negotiate with him and we're going to get right on this. So this is all that just now happened. Nothing else happened. And so now we got to consider next week. Next week we want to go and negotiate with him, and we've already done some preliminary talking, and he's worried a little bit about a few things, such as in the summer this place dies, and if you have a restaurant and you have a bunch of highly qualified, in his case he's got highly qualified people that's already gotten several raises because they worked for him for years, and we're going to have the accidental experience of people just walking in the door and already knowing how to cook that menu, have 18 years in the business of being the general manager. We're going to have overqualified people at the beginning, and someday I know you're probably going to ask what happens when the old restaurant gets rebuilt. And they were looking for a third location when this storm happened. So this is all, they have a succession plan and everything. But we, the board, Pelican Marsh Finance Foundation, we have to negotiate with them and give and take. And we know that he can run the numbers and he can see that our summers die and that he's probably going to need some help from us during the summers. We know he's going to need some help from us during the summers in order to make ends meet. And our community voted overwhelmingly 4-1. We don't want a mandatory minimum. So that means that we have to negotiate what does he want? What are we going to give him? And everything's on the table, from what he doesn't like about the kitchen to a check in hand whenever nobody will come to the restaurant. So we don't know what it's going to look like, but unfortunately, today's the day we have to approve the budget for next year. So we have all these unknowns hanging overhead, and we're going to approve the budget for whole next year. So what we've done is edited the budget a little tiny bit, only one line item. Paul, am I right? We're only editing one line item. Okay, so last month, if you were here and you heard my long ordeal about the budget, that's all the same except for one line item. We do know we're going to have to pony up something for the restaurant and maybe even make it a contingency so that if we may have to pony up a little more if business is bad and a little less if business is good. We don't know what we're going to do. So I need a number in the budget that I can work with to negotiate with, and then watch how business goes. Next January 1 after this, we'll know a whole lot more, but this is the year where we learn everything. So what I've requested, and the whole board has, in fact, I was the second or third person to request this, is that we have money in the budget more than we hope we need for the restaurant. So I'm changing the F&B. I'm requesting that the board change the F&B line item for 2023 from 65,000 to 150,000. And then I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that we don't use all of that. That I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that this year we lost 400 grand. And if he owns the restaurant, he loses money, we can't lose money. So the only thing that we have to worry about is what we budget. So I would like to motion that we change that one line item in the budget for 2023.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. It's worth saying, and I know you're going to say this down the road, but I'll say it just in case, and that is that we want to make these decisions based on data, but there is no data really for us moving forward into the summer here with this new operator. However, in 2024, we will have the advantage of being able to look back at 2023 and see what actually happened. If it turns out that this money isn't necessary, it'll be taken out of the budget.
Nathaniel,
Steve, I think I saw people asking questions. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted, perhaps you could speak briefly to what the difference will be between, in terms of what we would like to negotiate with this new vendor, how this is going to be different from what happened with Crave.
Okay, thank you.
A different structure.
I thank God for Karen
structure.
over and over. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so a lot of people liked or disliked the previous experience in different levels. Well, what we had in the previous experience, and it was because of the COVID hiring freeze, we had a situation where we owned a restaurant, not a restaurant owner owning a restaurant. We controlled the restaurant, and we are not restaurateurs. And then we had no data last year either. And so what we had was a situation where we were on the hook for every dollar of losses. And if things went bad, it was our problem. And there was nobody in there working scared to lose money. And so we lost money. So this situation is drastically different. To a great degree, this is like us being a landlord. We're gonna be the landlord. We're gonna rent them the restaurant for $1, and then we're gonna negotiate some other terms of the rental agreement. That's a great deal, a good way to think about it. So the person renting the building at here or Mercado or wherever, they're going to, if they lose money or make money, God bless them, it's not our problem. And this is what we hope to have here, is someone who's going to run their own business, hopefully really nice food, a pleasant experience, and then we'll see hopefully higher sales than we had last year or this year because of a better experience. And if he does that, he'll make money. and he's good at making money doing that. He's an expert at that particular job. So I feel very comfortable that we're at the right type of business with the right person. If we can negotiate a contract with him, we don't know yet how that would end. But he's such a nice person, and he's very flexible, and he needs us as bad as we need him right this moment. So I think that it's not going to be a difficult thing to do.
I think before we move on to our last new business item, we should accept questions from the, I see some hands, audience here.
So let's start over here.
And people on Zoom can't hear you unless you speak into the microphone up here, guys.
Joe McKay, I was on the restaurant committee. I voted for Brad Phillips. He was awesome. I got to give high marks to Nathaniel for his efforts in finding almost all of the candidates that we brought to the table. One of the things that I would say, I'm hearing we're voting on this and we're going down this path. I've been in business for a long time. Once you get out, tell him he's the one, tell all the other people that they're not the one, you lose your negotiating power. One of the things that I would say is we need to move very quickly. Time kills deals. He's very excited. We're very excited. We need to move very quickly on the contract. We need to get through this. The community is going to know about it. Once the world knows that he's our guy and there's nobody else, you're not going to be able to go back and get those other people. They're going to be dismayed. They're going to be upset. And we're going to start this process all over again. So what I would highly recommend is that the committee's work is not done. We found the candidate. We're all saying this is great. The committee's done it. The job is not done. We've got to work through the contract. We've got to go through the terms. There's a lot of things that we have to do before this thing's done. So I think the committee needs to stay behind this, stay involved, be a part of the negotiation process, which I think I volunteered from the very beginning, to be part of the discussions and the negotiations based on my experience. And I think everybody was happy about, my background to be able to help do that. So I'm still offering that. I don't think that we all just walk away, give us a hug and say, good job, because I don't want to start this process over. I've had 1,000 emails and meetings and tours and everything else. I'd like to be able to have a nice Thanksgiving, knowing that we've got this thing in a short leash. We put it to bed, we get this thing in, and we can all celebrate, Christmas here at the Nest. So those are my recommendations. Let's not think this is over and that we have one person. We're just in a place where we've got to keep it moving, and it's, don't stop the energy behind it.
Well, thank you. So let me just say something about that. Briefly, the mandate or the charter given to this committee by the motion that created it was to find a vendor and to vet that vendor, to present the vendor as a recommendation to the board. And that was it. However, we all know that there are people on this committee who are really talented and have a lot of experience in this area. So as we move forward with this thing, we need to have them involved. We're going to figure out a way to do that. It isn't necessarily, I don't know if everyone on this committee feels as though they need to be involved, but certainly members of the finance committee, and of course we have one on the committee, follow or want to be involved, need to be involved. And Joe is absolutely right that we have to move quickly here on this thing, because for no other reason than it is going to take longer to get this thing up and running than everybody thinks it's going to take. It always does. You're dealing with the county, you're dealing with the state, and our experience with them has been pretty terrible, even though that was a COVID year. So we'll give them a break on that. Nathaniel makes the point that this guy, Brad, is well experienced, and that's an understatement. He is tremendously well experienced, and he has a list of things that he has to get done in a very short period of time. And of course, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas in the middle of that short period of time. So everybody understands this is going to require all hands on deck. We're going to need all the help we can get. We're going to figure out a way to do this, to structure this so that everyone who is competent and wants to participate will be able to. And at the same time, we don't want to take too long to do all this. I hope that's clear. Any other questions? Yes.
Steve Barbario, Lake. What is the model of operations that you're envisioning for this operation?
Clarify what you mean by model of operations.
Well, I mean, the nest had certain hours.
Oh.
Okay. Are you expanding that to include breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Good question, and a lot of people have asked that question. Thank you for asking it. Now, there's several restraints on any restaurant business, and we did a survey at Pelican Marsh, and people did say their favorite meal of the day to go here would be the evening meal, and second favorite would be lunch. The restaurant operator is going to be a for-profit business, so he's going to be looking for ways to make a profit, and he's going to be looking for ways to cut losses when things are not working. So after he gets up and going, he may experiment with different things. However, it is tricky for any restaurant, and you probably have noticed that most restaurants are either open for breakfast and lunch or lunch and dinner. Well, very few of them, unless they're big corporations, don't. And then the reason for it is because you generally want your employees to work about 8 hours. You have a 12-hour shift, but then you got a bunch of half shifts, and that doesn't work very good. But he's in business to make money. People will suggest to him, hey, what about breakfast? And he'll think about it. I suspect it'll always be tricky and hard to do, but at the same time, I suspect he likes to make money. And if he keeps getting asked about it, I suspect that he will try to do something there. So I do want people to give their suggestions to the new operator, what they like or what they would like, because that's how he hears and that's how he makes more money and that's what makes us happier.
Of course, the other alternative is what's happening now. There are food trucks and vendors that are coming in temporarily on a once or twice a week basis, and that may solve that question.
Well, that could be expanded, and that's sort of something that we're thinking about. Talk to Lynn about this, but we talked about this, the fact that one of these food trucks, which is making delicious food in the morning, no coffee. I mean, so we've got to have at least in the beginning, as this guy is trying to get his feet under him and get open and to have a productive business serving lunch and dinner, we should be able to work, we hope to be able to work something out whereby we have a rotation of different food trucks through the week, not just once a week, not just twice a week, whereby people can have access to breakfast food when they want it, which is, obviously.
Precisely.
Right.
Good idea.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce?
I just don't think we should overthink this contract negotiation. I mean, there's two aspects to this contract. There's the business aspect of it. Most of that has been addressed in the RFP. And then there's the legal aspect of it, and that's going to be handled by the attorneys. So I don't think we should overthink we have a big negotiation to do. I think this could be done in a half hour.
Can I just respond to that? So thank you very much for that point, Bruce. It is true that this is actually going to be more of a lease agreement than a contract, and we are going to have the attorney prepare something, but there are a lot of competent people here who could put their eyes on this and help us. Just reviewing it, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of negotiation. I mean, because this isn't going to be an adversarial situation sitting across from the table from the guy saying, we want this. That's not going to happen. This guy's great. And as you say, a lot of this is already done. We already have an idea about how this is going to work. But I do think that we want to make sure that every competent person who lives here, who has something to offer, has a chance to offer it in this regard, as long as we don't take too long to get this done.
Okay. Mr. Brad Phillips is in his 50s, so I would like to thank Bruce Zaretsky for calling him a young man.
Just 3 quick questions. What did he do with his restaurants during the summer on the beach?
Okay, so it's a different situation, as you know. He did have a business drop off during the summer, but of course, he also had public restaurants. They weren't limited to the limited population we have here. But he has some flexibility in staffing. And so he said, he believes it's important. This is something we heard over and over again from all of these guys. Important to stay open through the summer, keep people employed. But at the same time, you have to be able to cut down on what he called the skeleton staff, so that, and cross training is very important, so that the manager on site needs to be able to cook, needs to be able to mix a drink, needs to be able to do these things. So that is, that answer your question.
Steve, I actually know a little bit even more about the answer to that. 1/3 of his crew leaves the city every year and goes up north and does the same thing up north. And then they're coming back about now normally every year. So for years, he literally has 1/3 of his crew leave when he doesn't need them anymore at the end of the winter. And then also he was right beside towers that had the same demographic as Pelican Marsh. And those people also very much look like us and act like us. And his business, he said, dropped off 75% in the summer. So so I really like this about him. He's not going to be in shock whenever we all go away.
Well, that's the issue. We know what our summer drop off was. And the question is, can he match that in? All right, and maybe we should open just X days or X hours as opposed to taking a full hit for all the hours and all the days.
Yeah.
Which we did last time.
That discussion was had, Jerry.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That discussion was had.
And he of course will be in charge of a lot of that because he's going to be losing the money if he's open too much or at the wrong time. So he'll be making a lot of those decisions.
Okay, the $150,000, is that going to be generated on the total income that he expects for the entire year, or is it just going to cover the shortfall in the summer months?
We have not yet negotiated anything with him. All that is a marker in our budget to give us something to work with so that when we negotiate something and then when we see what happens and we pay our subsidy that we may negotiate with him, we don't want to fall below zero in the budget and then have to ask people for money. So this is the pot of money that we have to work with for next year. But nothing has been, we have not marketed any of this money in any particular way yet because we haven't yet had that meeting with them.
Yeah. Everything is based on negotiation.
Yes, sir.
So the main question is, who's the chief negotiator out of our group? Don't let it be the attorney. Sorry, attorneys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Get to sit down this time. How about that? I'm Joan Vogel, Egret Squawk. A couple of things come to mind. First of all, congratulations to the committee and the board. Absolutely amazing that we're going to have a shot at getting this put together so quickly and so well with the priorities established by the community from the vote that took place. So congratulations on pulling it as far as you have and best wishes for the upcoming phases. A couple of things. Before Crave came in, there was a survey of the community with asking for ideas for names of the restaurant. When the restaurant was actually named, it was Crave who wanted the name Nest because they already had another restaurant called Zest.
Can I
So
respond
now
to
that, but I haven't finished saying my statement. So I wonder if we can go back and revisit what the restaurant should be called, what we want it to be called, rather than continuing with a name that for some feels a little tainted and for others seems like it was chosen for us by a prior vendor.
Okay, a couple things. First of all, the 260 people responded to the request to suggest names. And there were a lot of one-offs, some of them incredibly creative. Some of them I can't mention. But there were a number of sets of names that had a common element in them. And the most common element was nest, variations of nest. And it was all different nests. It was the pelican nest, it was nest, there was a lot of nests. That was about 35 or so in first place by a fair margin. Number 2 was 16. So we had decided that was the way to go. Before Crave had anything to say about it, it was not the way you say it was. Now, they did say, we like that name because blah, blah. And we said, okay, well, there's a nice confluence here between what the community wanted, least 35 people, and them. So that's how that worked. Now, we are disinterested in anything that is going to slow this process down, right? So I don't know exactly how to, and we got to kind of talk about this because this is this guy's business, right? We're running in his face. It's his business. He should probably get to name it, right? So I don't know if he wants to call it Brad's Place or something, whether we think that's okay. But we should have some sort of, I would imagine, some sort of review ability to stop this from happening. It's a terrible name. But I think that if we get back involved, it's that whole process. I don't know if you remember this, but getting all the names from all the people and having Paul and Lynn collating these things, I mean, it took forever. We had a whole bunch of people who were just counting names, and we don't have a lot of time. So we don't want to slow this thing down. This guy's got to name an LLC. He's got to start to build a website. He's got to, are we going to have a logo where, you know, he's got a lot of stuff to do and there's not a lot of time to do it. So I'm sensitive to what you have to say.
I'm just saying, we've inherited a name. It might be something to rethink, and you're rethinking it. So that's the end. That's all.
In the board meetings with Brad, the discussion was had whether he wanted to keep Nest or if he wanted to change the name. In the landlord-tenant lease negotiation, the tenant can bring forward, the landlord, meaning the board, can review and approve.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I didn't make it a big deal, you know, to restart something, just to raise the issue. Also, a lot of times we hear how nobody's here in the summer, and judging on the Friday midday trash barrel situation all summer long, I would say that it's something north of 30% of Pelican Marsh that is here, which puts it at least 1,500 people. So I think part of the challenge for the summer people is to create something that's a draw for those of us who are here all summer, to make it a magnet for gathering. I think there's opportunity there, and I'm continually disturbed, I think, in my heart when it is said that nobody's here, because at least you know, if there are 4,000 of us here at the peak of season and 30% are here all summer, then you know, it may be people coming and going, but there are people here in the summer. It's not really that much of a ghost town, although people go elsewhere. That's all. I don't need a discussion about it. That's, I just want
to say something about that. And that is that the board is considering the whole summer issue. And the summer issue is largely a weather issue as well as a decreased population issue. So we're kind of thinking about how we might improve things out there weather-wise. And there are a lot of technological items that might be helpful in that regard. So we're thinking about it.
Okay. Also, when we have these meetings and we're on a sound system and our kitchen staff is exactly right there, and this sound system is just going through a drywall, metal stud wall, maybe there are even speakers inside the kitchen. I wonder if we would consider understanding that there are, in the prior iteration, there were Crave staff members who were listening to these meetings that we were having. And when there were discussions like this, they were hearing every word one way and another. And so the kitchen being right there, I don't know if you would consider holding some meetings in the other two sections of this, letting the card people be in here and using suites A and B so that they can be more separated from the people who we're talking about when that's occupied.
Thank you.
Then also coffee. We have coffee as a part of the foundation amenity right now. And so if we're going to have anything in the morning, I think that would need to be revisited so that we're not competing with free coffee with someone who's trying to sell.
We are way ahead of you.
So, okay.
Coffee is very important.
One way or another, let there be coffee.
I hear you.
Okay, and the last thing on my item is what you were talking about earlier about people being careful driving around. When I arrived at the parking lot here, there were at least 5, probably more vehicles double parked that rendered spots unusable in the parking lot just on a Thursday afternoon. It's great to have so many people interested in this and playing cards.
When you say double park, you mean parked in 2 spaces?
People are over the line
Yes, yes.
of the parking, and so the spot that's in between is maybe a motorcycle, or something that's not a car. So as we move forward in the upcoming season, I want to add to your list about driving carefully on bicycle people, that also parking takes away spots. We added so many a couple of years ago, but just taking that extra little bit of time to realize that you're not really in between the lines could make more spots available. Right now, today, on my way in, that I just noticed we're 5 or more spots.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you. Okay.
Brett Smith area. And I'm greatly relieved that we will no longer be owning a restaurant. And I'm wondering if I'm correct in thinking that we may be able to recover some of the costs we had invested in systems, bookkeeping, and James's time, and all the other things that were involved in our supervision of Crave. Those going to go away.
Is what going to go away? I'm sorry.
The computer systems that ran the restaurant bookkeeping, James's time to keep the books, and all those things that added on because we were working with Craig, and they were additional administrative costs that we bore because effectively we owned the restaurant.
Sure, certainly. Jim's time is where he's not going to be doing bookkeeping for this business. The POS Clover, we own it, so it is. And next year, somewhere around the middle of the year, something we're going to be converting over to the new platform, which is going to be Club Essentials, which will run the whole community. All the software, the 6, 7 different software packages we use here are going to go away, and Club Essentials is going to take their place. But in terms of other savings, there really wasn't a lot. We didn't have a lot of computer technology that was running the restaurant. It was just basically the POS system.
So I get that. And as a follow-on to that, I guess my question would be, since we're no longer doing the bookkeeping at the restaurant, how would we arrange to trigger a subsidy for the operator if that turns out to be part of the deal? And will that be limited by the contract?
That system we own, called Clover, we actually have the ability to have one terminal in our office, and we will be able to see sales as they happen in real time. So, and that's the only thing we care about is gross sales. So and he's expressed no reluctance at all to us being able to see sales as they happen. So literally, we already own the system where we can see what's happening as it's happening, and nothing will be hidden. So that's nice. And you're right about we will save money in that we will no longer have to pay an accountant to do all the accounting for a restaurant because it's not going to be our restaurant.
So how will we manage what would trigger a subsidy for the operator? I mean, he says, I just need more money. What do we do?
Well, we need to, before he even gets here, we'll negotiate a contract, and that contract might say this, if this doesn't happen, then this will happen, or something like that. It's not going to fly by the seat of the pants after he gets here. It's all going to be spelled out carefully and reviewed by the attorney. So it'll probably be based on things like sales, just gross sales. We don't care about his expenses. We don't want to get involved in that.
I would assume that it'd be limited in the contract to the extent of.
It'll be a not to exceed provision.
Yeah.
Beg pardon?
It'll be a not to exceed provision.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Paula played today.
Yeah, she was awesome. Poetry in motion.
Yeah, she felt the same. She really did. You didn't win. Yeah, it's
In
like.
case anybody missed that, Paul and I lost today, only by a little bit. So.
Yeah, it was a very
all my
close
fault,
match.
by the way.
No, she didn't say that. She took full responsibility. She's very good at that. Rich Fetterman, I live in Deerfield. I am the husband of the famous Paula Fetterman, and I'm honored to be so. I have a fundamental question now. Have you thought about who and what the oversight committee will be for this new endeavor?
Yeah, well, we're talking about that, and that is something that we're gonna have to kind of figure out. I mean, the oversight, as it applied to Crave and the old business model was, onerous. I mean, there was a big job. There was a lot of data that had to be looked at, frequently. This guy is running his own business, and our principal concern is that he doesn't fail. That's really what we're concerned about. We want the restaurant here as an amenity for our people. End of story. If however much money he thinks he needs to make, he needs to figure that out. We're not going to be having oversight in the sense that we're going to be examining his books and being concerned about the daily figures and all that stuff. We're concerned about the fact that he's staying in business and that he's happy. We want him happy. We want him to make money because we want him to be here long term. So oversight is going to be more, I think, kind of a almost a resident buffer between restaurant management and the foundation in terms of, so everybody here is going to be going and they're going to have opinions and they're going to say, well, I think the chicken sandwich is dry, or I don't like the French fries, or whatever. And so there's got to be some feedback loop that is created so that everybody who's making decisions here understands where people stand, what they like, what they don't like, what they want. God forbid, we might even do another survey at some point. But the point I'm making to you is that it won't look the same as it did, because we're not going to be looking at the data the same way. It's not our business. Thank God.
Minimize my comments on that. I know the last time our oversight committee was also involved in the negotiation of the contract. The contract was an utter disaster. We lost $400,000. Okay, you can blame some of it on Craig, blame it on a late start, but the fundamental of oversight and operations, there has to be something, Steve. It's a must. You can decide how that will look like, but we should be reviewing how they're doing, not just what the people think, but well, why is it only 50,000 in revenue? We expected 150. There's got to be some legitimate oversight. That's number one. Number two, I urge you to have a point person on negotiation of the contract. Bruce, respectfully, I disagree. This should not be a quick slam dunk contract. That would only be the case if we give them all the money in the world. If we give them all the money in the world, I'll run it. Give me $200,000. I'll take care of it. So I urge us to take this as a serious, we got experts all over, as a serious negotiation. Not like, okay, here's the money, we'll give you up to X. It should be negotiated. And last time we just gave them whatever they want, whatever they wanted. So I urge you to consider these thoughts and have a point person. I actually would recommend the treasurer to head all negotiations, not just Nathaniel, but treasurer. And then work in consult with the attorney and in consult with the quote unquote restaurant expert that you appoint to. And I just hope we don't do things like what we did before. Change the mix of process, change the mix of people. I'm positive you're going to end up with a great outcome. I really believe that. And it is amazing that we got this so quickly. But kudos. However, no contract should be like, oh, no problem. We got to take it seriously. It's our money. We don't want to lose $400,000 again.
Okay, thank you.
Is that fair?
Yep, thanks very much.
I'd like to interject because the last agreement with Crave, they were guaranteed a revenue stream. And they were very reckless with everything that they did and how they operated. This is going to be a lease, and there's going to be 4 walls of that lease. They are in the business to make money. Crave, on the other hand, had a gravy train of money coming in from us that they didn't give it. Truly, they didn't. This is a whole different set of circumstances.
I'm thrilled to hear that. Pardon?
It's no
I'm
issue.
the audience, it's the status of the liquor license.
It's no issue.
He's going to apply for a new one.
He's gonna apply for a new one?
You know, he is.
he's going to apply, the seating license, which is in Craig's name, expires next month, and he's going to have to apply for a new seating license. And then once he gets the seating license, he'll be able to apply for a liquor license. This guy actually has a third-party facilitator that he's used in the past in this regard to interface between him and the government to speed up the whole process. He pays for this because otherwise, you know what happens.
Like
So
lobbying Congress.
this guy it's not his first rodeo. He knows what he's doing. So.
Okay.
He
All right.
currently has two, what are called 4COB SRX licenses. Those are the toughest licenses to get. And he said the last one he got for Oliver's only took 3 weeks.
During COVID.
Well, no, this was years ago.
Oliver's open
Yes,
in
2020.
November during COVID. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So realistically, our objective is to have everything done and open by 1/1. Would that be?
We're hoping, you know, we have to,
Hope is not a strategy, but what do you think?
we're just getting started here. As you know, we just approved the guy. We met him just the other day. We have a lot of confidence in him and his team. We also met the gal who runs Oliver's, and I think that it's I bet on. I think we can get open in January, early January. I'm hoping for New Year's Day. We'll see what
Let's
happens.
have a big New Year's Eve party. Blow out. I want to get one, everyone.
If we can get there, get open in December, we'll do it.
Rich, I think that the issues you're bringing up are definitely important and relevant. And hopefully the phrase live and learn will be something that we will look at. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
All right,
I-
because I think that everyone here wants to be on top of this, and everyone here wants it to work and wants it to work for the community and wants to do things, if necessary, differently so that it will work.
I've been told many times, the definition of insanity is
That's
doing the
right.
same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. I think we are going to do things differently, and I think we're going to have a great outcome. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one, another Rich. But I'll be short down. I just want to talk about the money so I understand a little bit more. Then you add another $85,000 or something, and where does that money come from?
Okay, so the come from and the go to is both pretty blank at this point. And all these things, including what Rich just talked about, in 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have a lot better answers or guesses and educated guesses in 2 or 3 weeks. Right now, we were just kind of staring over the precipice. So the extra money in the budget for future negotiations and future contingencies, we don't know what we don't know. For example, we don't know that something may come up, but we'll need to hire an expert to fix it or find out the problem for it or something. So that money comes from the operating fund, and it will hopefully not get spent all, and it'll go to wherever it's needed next year, but that we don't know yet. We just need to have some money available in case we need it. And then it will come from the operating fund, which will come from your HOA fees.
So last meeting, we had a fee number, I think it was 1871 or something like that, or some year, it sounded good. So to get the extra 85, are we going to add?
There is a slide,
We're
there's going to be a slide.
41 on that or something like that?
I mean, that's close.
Just tell us, what are you gonna hit?
44.
44, okay, so
Okay,
so your
so
HOA fee next year, your HOA fee next year is going to be at $44 higher than we estimated that it would be.
Got it.
And so next year, when you get your HOA fee bill, it will be $44 higher than what I told you last month. And hopefully, at this time next year, some of that's still there to roll over.
Right. Now, I've heard all this, and I think Joe talked about we've lost negotiating power already by we tell this guy he's the only guy. But we also, he'd do it, as Rich said, if we give him $300,000, he'd do it right now. It'd be $500,000. Do we must have some kind of limits because we've already added 44. You know, we're gonna have to add 85, well, 105 because we're in such a hurry to get in here that we'll give him the.
Oh, no, this is the budget for next year. We just voted on the budget for next year. We're done. The budget for next year won't change again.
Did you look at how you could save $44 from the budget? For example,
We still can do that.
you still can.
Yeah, in fact, we actually know of ways that we think we're gonna save money or be under budget. And we see several ways that we think the budget's gonna look more attractive next year than right now. Yeah,
So
yes.
the following year's budget, we can expect might be less.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So if we're paying like
Because we'll have,
1,900 now, next year we might be 1,800.
we might have, because we're gonna have data next year to look at.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear that in the negotiating, money comes from somewhere, and it goes from our pockets, just like in the proxy, when people voted, they didn't want to put a blank check. So they don't want to put a blank check.
Yeah, it pains me to have any nudges on the HOA fee, and we've had 4 of them.
Daniel, I
Insurance.
trust you. And
All right, thank you.
Anybody else?
Craig Stevens, Claremont. We've been residents for years. However, my wife and I have, with her family and some of mine, have been coming to Fort Myers Beach for over 30 years. We have dined at Brad's restaurants, in season, out of season. And I can say that I like to talk about the other side of this page. The service, the quality of the staff, everything was always to our satisfaction. I think you're
That's
making
good
a
to hear.
good choice in negotiating with this particular person. And I think that he can be very successful.
Greg, I understand that you might even be part of the chain of events that helped this happen. I believe that you gave the general manager's phone number to Beth, to Frank, who gave it to me, who I texted, and he texted that over to Brad. And so eventually I was talking to Brad.
Actually, I can't take credit for that, but my wife.
And can I say that every time you go to their restaurants, they're always packed. It's a fun place to be, and, you know, and the staff's great.
You can pick up your drink coupon on the way up.
I'm getting that first.
At this time,
Wait, can I say something? Now, people always think I talk a lot. See, I gain a lot of information from talking, because if I hadn't talked to Leanne, I don't know where we were, but she's the one that gave me the information. So thank you for getting involved. It's great.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
okay, at this time, we are going to, I will entertain a motion to adopt the 2023 Foundation annual budget as presented. And thank you, a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. And now the final new business, item 11.3, approval of the design review committee written report. May I have a motion to accept the report as written? Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Board member comments.
In light of Joe's comment, could some of us over 39 have valet parking? Free.
I thought you married your valet. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Any other resident comments today? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. We are adjourned.